Hello, Dale Majors here, and welcome to day 12 of the Masterclass. And today we're going to do a really deep dive into habits. And I'm going to tell you everything I know. So here it is what it is, and I hope you get loads of value from it. So first off, I had one of the main switches that had to flip in my head before I could truly start to build new habits is a belief that once a habit is formed, that it takes a lot less effort. And duh, that's what habits are. They become easy to do. But I think that while we know that, a lot of us don't truly believe it, where we don't believe that by simply working on something for a month or two can allow us to put that thing on autopilot. So we've heard a lot the thing that says 21 days will create a new habit. There are lots of studies and numbers. I've read a lot of self-help books, 200 plus or so, and you hear people throwing out different numbers. Some say, and they all say it very matter-of-factly, as if we're robots with some sort of very finite exact definition of how long it takes us to get a habit. But people say, oh, depending on complexity, 60, 90 days, whatever. So that's what we hear. But in the end, if we do something repeatedly, then it becomes easier. That's how our brains work. And it's easier to just keep going and going. So the belief that I had that morphed, that allowed me to then have and develop lots of new habits, was that if I worked on it long enough, it wasn't going to be hard anymore. A story that helped reinforce that principle in my mind was in that book, The Power of Habit, and it talked about one of the guys who received some sort of brain damage, and he lost all his short-term memory, but he had all of his past habits in place. One of them was wake up in the morning, get out of bed, go into the kitchen, make bacon and eggs, go in front of the TV, watch the TV, fall asleep, go into the kitchen, make bacon and eggs, go down, watch TV. This habit of making bacon and eggs and going and watch TV was drilled into him. And once I truly believed that I could be rewired like that, my motivation was increased, and I said it's worth building habits now because I truly believe that a little bit of work on the front end is going to allow me to get this on the back end. I'm sold, I'm in, let's do this. So thinking about it that way, I have another analogy that I want to share that really has to do with, that'll maybe help you understand, that'll help you brainstorm and think about habits in a new way as they apply to you. So imagine that you're a video game character and that you're sitting in front of the Nintendo and selecting the attributes that you want to give this character. You select what kind of hair he or she has, and outfit and clothes and body type and build. You're selecting all these things. Imagine that you could go one step further and identify other attributes for themselves. So let's imagine that you're actually setting that person up to live your life. You're almost creating a clone that is going to go out into the world on your behalf and live life. Would you want this avatar to wake up early? Yes or no? Would you want this avatar to pick up their phone at night and watch YouTube for an hour and a half endlessly, or scroll through Instagram and Facebook? Would you want this avatar to have the habit of anytime they're bored to pick up their phone and start scrolling through? Would you want this avatar to boom, 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 whatever types of things you do? We all know the types of habits that we have that we want to change. Those are the things where you would reprogram very strategically and in a detailed way, down to the smaller details, choose what things that avatar did. For me, for example, I decided that when I wake up at night, in the morning, for one, I don't want to snooze the alarm clock. I want to get out of bed the first time. I want to stand up, go into the kitchen, grab a glass of water. I want to go into my desk in my office and stand it up in standing position. I want to start off the morning standing up instead of sitting down. Very small little details. I want to refrain from opening social media for those first hours in the morning. And I'm really being detailed about those things that I'm doing. So if you could, and this is going to be the homework for today actually, and we're going to get into a lot of other tips around habits. But the homework for today is to make a list of the attributes that you would want your avatar to have. And we're going to talk the things that you want him to do, the things that you want him to stop doing. So for example, a thing that I've started doing is disallowing myself from accessing Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or email from my mobile device. Right? I thought that if I had an avatar, I sure as heck wouldn't want him to just be able to be so easily distracted there. So that's the idea, is if you were going to program somebody, how would you program it? Don't think about all the work that it'll take for you to have to go through. And by no means am I saying that you should become a robot. Maybe I kind of am. But you really shouldn't become a robot. But there are certain things that you can program yourself to do or not do that are going to help you become a more productive and happy person. So a lot of this idea came from a book that I used to have as a missionary in Portugal. It was a small little manual that was a list of do's and don'ts, very clearly defining certain roles. And that small booklet actually governed about 80,000 individual missionaries. And it was very simple things. Hey, go to bed on time, wake up on time. Don't go to nightclubs, whatever else to govern 80,000 18 to 21-year-olds, okay? So what are those things for you? How would you program your avatar? So now I want to get into a pretty long list of tips for habits, and I'm going to give you 5 today, and then tomorrow we're going to go through 10 more, okay? So, so that's actually cheese in Spanish, if you didn't know, queso. We're going to go through those tips. Let's just jump right in. All right, so reminder 1, because we've already talked about this, is that habits require willpower, and creating new habits are going to take energy. Tip 2 is willpower is a muscle, and you need to continue to develop it to make it stronger. So going back to our golden coins analogy, maybe right now you have 8 golden coins that you can spend every single day. And as you strengthen that, you might get up to 9 or 10. Tip 3 is willpower is limited and you only have so much of it. And I want to dig in a little bit more to this. We talk about the time inventory, and we've done the time inventory. Identifying those times where you have less willpower is really important, because you're not going to try to start your new habits in those times. For me, I'm not super motivated at 2, 3 in the afternoon. So I'm not going to schedule my hardest thing for that time period. I'm going to schedule those harder to do things that I'm trying to work on during times when I have a lot more energy. And tip 4 is we have to remember, and this helps us, is that once something is habitualized, once it's a habit, it requires a whole lot less willpower. And tip 5 is, and this goes back to the avatar thing, is we can be reprogrammed. Just like the guy that cooked bacon and eggs without fail every time he woke up, we can be reprogrammed to do things, and we need to keep that in our memory. So homework for today is to program your avatar, to identify those things that you want to start doing or stop doing, and if you could just detail your perfect self, your perfect avatar, what would that look like? And I'm not saying that you should do all these things, but I want you to program them, because as they become thoughts in your mind and kind of take some of the space in your mind, there's a higher likelihood that they could become part of your future someday, someday later. For probably 18 months, I've wanted to get more disciplined around my use of social media, when I pick up my phone, what I do with it, because I just so often feel that it's a waste of time. And as I had that thought of getting more disciplined, I've naturally just become more and more disciplined around it. It's been amazing. And it goes back to that quote by Lao Tzu, our thoughts become our words become our actions become our habits become our character becomes our destiny. So today, and in this masterclass, we're really just starting with all of the thoughts. and all of the words, and we're moving in there with action. We don't have to fix this overnight. We're not going to change our habits overnight. This is a long-term thing. You won't just change immediately. So that's the homework, is just write down what perfect would be, and just realize that you're not going to achieve that tomorrow, and that's okay. But we're just going to brainstorm what this like very disciplined, perfect avatar looks like, and that'll give us ideas. So that's it for day 12. Tomorrow, we're going to go through all the different habit tips and close them out. And I'm excited to be there with you again tomorrow. And I'll see you then. Thanks so much.